Good morning everyone. By the way, let me introduce myself. My name is Rosalyn Katubay, one of the member of the group 4. So our topic is all about global food security. But before we will start, let's have the learning outcomes. So first, let us define what is global food security. Next one is to critique the existing models of food security. And the next, let's have the table of contents. So first, we have the definition. Second is the four pillars. Third is the importance. Fourth is the key factors. Fifth is the consequences. Sixth is the four core aspirations. Seven is the models, food systems, and the last is the summary of the global food security. But before I will further discuss the definition about the global food security, let us define it first using the different trivia. So as what you see on the screen, the first trivia is that the global food security year 2020's decline. It is particularly to the economic impact of the COVID-19 pandemic, which is begun in the 2020. So the next one trivia is this is the year of 2023. So most of the world is experienced the increases in inflation down trade restrictions. In this year, the global food market process is worsened. So these different trivia are the example of the impact of the global food security during 2019 and 2023. Imagine the world without food, shelter, facing the different problems of poverty. Imagine the world that the people are still hungry. In that case, the global food security is one factor that will address that problem. So, global food security. So, in the World Food Summit in 1996, they defined it that people at all times must have physical access and economic access to sufficient, safe, and nutritious food that will meet their dietary needs, and to have the active and healthy life. Yes, food is a fundamental human right, yet it is an estimated at 690 million people that go hungry every day. So not having enough food to eat has ripple effects on health. So food security is as defined in the United Nations. It is means that all people at all times have physical, social, and economic access to sufficient, safe, and nutritious food, as what I've said earlier. Although there have been huge improvements in fighting world hunger, it is currently on the rise as many vulnerable communities in countries without food security are still struggling with malnutrition. So, in parts of Africa like Malawi and Zimbabwe, poor rainfall and harvest in recent years mean that some individuals and families do not have enough food to last a whole year. Some are forced to cut back on their meals, sometimes going without food for days. So there are different impact on food security. First is the changing climate. Next is the population growth. Third is the rising food prices and also the natural disasters. So implementing strategies and addressing the issues which contribute to global food security are very essential. So more than 135 million people across 55 countries and territories are in food crisis where they lack access to essential nutrition. So food security is a powerful ally in the fight against poverty. So it helps to reduce a community's vulnerability to disease and enables people to invest more time in building their livelihoods, strengthening their economy, and caring for vulnerable community members. So when a community that is already struggling with poverty, that has no food security, it already affects their livelihoods, health, and education of the people. This can influence areas such as crime, inequality, gender-based violence, and child abuse. So, better availability and access to affordable and reliable food sources, helps combat and reduce effects of food crisis. It ensures that the impact of food shortages on people in marginalized communities are minimized and helps keep local economies afloat during the time of crisis. So one of the example of the global food security is the price of sugar. This is directed by Bill Honey. So they suffer more about the poverty because their government failed to meet their obligation of equal justice. So the importance of global food security, especially in the growth in the agricultural sector, has been found on average to be at least twice as effective in reducing poverty as growth in other sectors. So access to quality, nutritious food is fundamental to human existence. Secure access to food can produce wide-ranging positive impacts, including the economic growth and job creation, poverty reduction, trade opportunities, increased global security and stability, and the last is the improved health and health care. So in addressing the issues about the food security in the Philippines, we have the law, the RA 10611. This is an act to strengthen the safety regulatory system in the country to protect consumer health and facilitate market access of local foods and food products and for other purposes. Otherwise, this is known as Food Safety Act of 2013. So again, communities with food security can access enough food to sustain themselves despite external factors that can cause a decline in food production and availability. So food security contributes to the health and well-being of people in a community, enabling them to be more productive and concentrate their efforts on improving the quality of their lives. So thank you, and now may I call on Rizalyn Picasso to discuss the 4 pillars of global food security.
Okay, let's talk about the 4 pillars of food security. The first pillar is availability, which focuses on the supply of food. Food availability refers to whether there is enough food physically present for people to access. This depends on how much food is produced in farms, how much is stored properly, and how much food is traded between countries. For example, when farmers have a successful harvest, there is more food available in the market. However, if there are natural disasters such as typhoons or floods, food production decreases, which lowers food availability. In simple terms, this pillar ensures that there is food that exists in markets, stores, and homes. Without food availability, people will not have anything to eat. The second pillar, which is accessibility, which focuses on whether people can actually get the food they need. Food accessibility depends on person's income, the cost of food, and whether there are markets or stores nearby where food is sold. For example, even if there is food available in a city, people living in rural areas or remote villages may not be able to buy it because it might be too expensive, or they may not have transportation to reach the markets. Accessibility also depends on whether a family earns enough money to buy food or if they can grow their own food. Even if food is available in large quantities, it does not mean that everyone can access it. Therefore, this pillar ensures that food is not just present but also within reach of every person, regardless of where they live or how much they earn. The next is utilization. The third pillar is utilization, which is about how food is used and consumed by people. Even if food is available and accessible, it must be used in the right way to provide the necessary nutrients and energy for a healthy body. Utilization involves several important aspects. First, it means having good feeding practices, like making sure children and adults eat healthy and balanced meals. Second, it includes food preparation, such as cooking food properly to avoid foodborne illness or the loss of nutrients. Third, it is about having a diverse diet that includes different kinds of food like vegetables, fruits, grains, and proteins to meet nutritional needs. Lastly, utilization also depends on how food is shared within a household. Everyone, including children, should get their fair share of food. If food is not utilized properly, people can suffer from malnutrition even if they have enough food to eat. For example, eating only rice every day may not provide the vitamins and minerals needed for good health. And next, the fourth pillar is stability, which is about having reliable and consistent access to food over time. Stability ensures that people have food not just today but also tomorrow, next week, and next year. Even if someone has enough food right now, they are still considered food insecure if they face uncertainty about whether they can get food in the future. Stability can be affected by many factors, such as climate change, economic problems, or conflicts. For example, if a family loses their source of income or if there is a war that disrupts food supply chains, they might no longer have stable access to food. Stability also means that food security is not temporary. It requires long-term planning to ensure that food is always available, accessible, and properly utilized for everyone. And that's all. Thank you.
So, I am Rosan Bernaldo. Today, I'll be discussing the importance of food security. So, importance of food security is a cornerstone of a healthy and stable society, playing a vital role in ensuring that everyone has access to enough safe and also the nutritious food nga makalid sa healthy and active life. Na it's not about kanang avoiding hunger but also about sa promoting overall well-being and contributing a thriving society ng food security. So as you can see in the second slide, no, it illustrates that the interconnected benefits of ensuring food security, including economic growth and job creation, poverty reduction, trade opportunities, increase global security and stability, and the last is improve health and healthcare. So what is economic growth and job creation? So, mo siya as a stable food system na maka-create og jobs and maka-stimulate sa economic activities across kanang various sectors. For example, kanang investing investing in sustainable farming practices and agricultural technology nga maka-create og mga jobs in rural areas and also makabost og agricultural productivity and increase overall economic output. So, and also makalid sa siya sa greater food availability and affordability of enhancing food security. Next is poverty reduction. So, poverty reduction is a food security nga directly addressed by ensuring access to essential nutrients and reducing the financial burden of food cost. For example, kanang providing food assistance program like food stamps or subsidized meals para sa mga low-income families gani nga para mga directly reduces their financial burden and also allowing them to allocate the resources to other necessities and also improving their nutritional intake. And also makakontribute sa siya sa food security and reduces the cycle of poverty. Next is trade opportunities. It is a powerful food system nga maka-foster trade and economic exchange by benefiting the producer and the consumers alike. For example, kanang fair trade agreements that ensure nga equitable prices for farmers in developing countries nga promote sa sustainable agriculture and increase food production. And also maka-improve siya sa food availability globally and strengthen food security in both exporting and importing nations. No? And next is increase global security and stability. Manage the food shortages and insecurity nga can lead to conflict and instability. Kaya food security nga nag-promote man siya sa peace and stability. Right? So, example, kanang international cooperation on food aid and disaster relief ensures that kanang vulnerable ganishas population have access nga to food during times of crisis, gani like droughts or conflicts. This is it. And prevent sa just a widespread of hunger and social unrest by promoting the stability. And the last one is improve health and healthcare. So this is a nutritious food nga important for our good health, no? As an individual nga, and also reducing the need for healthcare para resources and also maka-improve overall well-being. For example, ano niya kay ang public health campaigns, no? Kabantay man tayo niya, no? Any public health campaigns nga promote og healthy eating habits and nutrition education can improve dietary choices and reduce diet-related diseases. And also maka-enhance ni siya sa overall health of the population and contributes to food security by improving the utilization of available food. Right? So, kaning mga benefit nga nag-illustrate about food security, mga connected or gani sila interconnected if from the economic growth and down to improve health and healthcare. So, if nice gid ang flow sa economic growth and job creation, so ang poverty is ma-reduction dyan, ano? Mana kita poverty reduction. So, if ang poverty is na-reduction na, so daghan ang opportunities ang mga individual, no? Daghan ng mga trade opportunities na makuha. So, possible, mo increase gid ang global security and stability. And also, maka-improve ang health and healthcare. And that's all for my topic. And may I call Miss Shane Arsenal and Miss Chinalyn Cartichano to tackle about key factors.
Thank you, Miss Rosan. Good afternoon, everyone. I am Shane Arsenal, and I will be discussing the key factors that affect the food security. So, first is climate change. Climate change is a threat to global food security, impacting the food availability, access, utilization, and stability. Extreme weather events, changing rainfall patterns, rising temperatures, and ocean acidification are reducing agricultural productivity. This leads to food shortages, price hikes, and nutritional deficiencies, especially affecting vulnerable populations. Then the second one is land degradation. Land degradation is when land becomes less healthy and productive. It is like land is getting sick. This can happen when we overuse the land, cut down too many trees, or don't take care of the soil. When land is degraded, it can grow as much as food, and then the food it does grow might not be as healthy as we expected. So land degradation can make food less healthy. When land is damaged, it produces less nutrition to crops, and then farmers will use more harmful chemicals just to grow food, which can make people sick. These harmful chemicals can cause health issues That's why organic foods are more expensive because it is harder to grow than the food that has chemicals. And then the third one is population growth. Population growth significantly strains food security. As the global population increases, so does the demand for food, putting immense pressure on agricultural system. These increased demands lead to depletion of vital resources like land and water, driving up food prices, making food less accessible, especially for vulnerable populations. Moreover, rapid population growth can exacerbate existing inequalities, particularly in developing countries with limited resources. Furthermore, compromising food security and increasing the risk of malnutrition. Addressing this challenge requires multifaceted approach that agricultural practices, improved resource management, and equitable access to food for all. And the fourth one is the global water crisis. The global water crisis severely impacts food security. Water scarcity limits irrigation, leading to lower crop yields. This also affects livestock production and food processing, disrupting the food supply chain. As a result, food prices rise, making nutritious food less accessible, particularly for vulnerable populations. This can lead to malnutrition and hunger. So that's all for my part. May I call on Miss Ginaline Cartesiano to continue to discuss the other factors that affect the food security.
So thank you, Miss Shane. I am Jenaline Cartesiano and I am the one who will continue to discuss about the key factors that affect global food security. So we have here first declining farmer, changing dietary preference, competition with biofuels, and greedy land deals. So let us start with declining farmer. So declining farmer, one way na ma-achieve na to ang food security sa atong country is to support farmers. But however, dili kayo supported ang atong farmers. That's why wala kayo ni kuha of course na related sa farming or agriculture. So as fewer people take up farming, it's either due to aging populations or migration to urban areas for better job opportunities. There's a significant reduction in agricultural output. Many young people are not interested in farming because it is seen as low-paying and physically demanding. For example, in a rural village in Bukidnon, most farmers are over 60 years old. So younger generations prefer working in cities like Cebu or Manila due to higher wages. As older farmers retire, fewer people are left to grow essential crops like rice and corn. So its impact is the village starts relying on imported rice, which is more expensive, and of course when imports are delayed, the community experiences food shortages. Next we have here dietary preference. So global dietary trends are shifting towards more resource-intensive foods such as meat and dairy. Producing these foods requires significantly more water, land, and feed crops like corn and soybeans compared to the plant-based food. So this increases strain on agricultural systems, leaving less food available for direct human consumption. For example, in Metro Cebu, rising incomes lead families to buy more meat and processed foods such as fast food burgers and fried chicken. So to meet the demand, livestock farming increases, requiring more grain to feed animals. And its impact, of course, the grain that could feed the community directly is now diverted to livestock. So this raises grain prices, making it less affordable for low-income households. Next, we have here competition with biofuels. So governments and industries are increasingly using crops like corn, sugarcane, and soybeans to produce biofuels as an alternative to fossil fuels. While this is good for energy needs, it creates a trade-off where these crops are no longer used for food, reducing the global food supply. And it also leads to higher food prices, making it harder for vulnerable populations to afford basic necessities. So the higher biofuels, the higher the global market, or I mean the prices. So last, we have greedy land deals, which also called land grabbing. So some wealthy countries or corporations buy large tracts of farmland in developing nations to grow food or biofuel crops for export. This displaces local farmers and communities who depend on that land for their food and livelihoods. Often, these deals prioritize profits over the needs of local populations, worsening hunger in those areas. For example, in Mindanao, a foreign corporation buys thousands of hectares of farmlands from local landowners to grow palm oil for export. Farmers who previously rented this land lost their livelihoods. And its impact is the displaced farmers must work as laborers for low wages or move to urban slums. And meanwhile, the palm oil profits benefit the corporation rather than the local economy, leaving communities in poverty. So that's all for the key factors that affect global food security. And now let us proceed to consequences of lack global food security. May I call on Miss Ashley Kasiban to continue the discussion?
Okay, I am Ashley Jane Kisiban and I will be discussing the consequences of lack of global food security and the four core aspirations of global food security. So now let us proceed to the consequences of lack of food security. So unsa man ni ang mahitabo kung kuwang og supply sa pagkaon at the same time mahal kayo ang mga ingredients like sa tuwa pa lang mahal na kay ang tung bugas, mahal na kay ang mga palitunon ug naagi mga nagprotesta nga mga nagreklamo. So in that way there will be a social disorder tungod kay dili mihilom ang mga tao ug dili sila makontento na mao na ang mga nahitabo ug na experience nila which ang mga palitunon is mahal, diba? So there will be disruptive or disruption sa economy. Next is yung health issues. So health issues such as malnutrition and stunted children are seen during food shortage. Of course, if kuwang ang food supply, dili safe, dili enough ang pagkaon na na-consume nila sa kaadlaw, dili nutritious enough to meet the needs of their body to, of course, to function well. And it will have a malnutrition. So if miingon tag malnutrition is mao na siyang mga underweight and overweight, diba? So pag overweight is mao ni siyang like mga nag-overeating, dili nutritious yung mga gipangkaon nila like mga more on junk foods, soft drinks, like dili balance ilang pagkaon. Wala na siya nasunod or na follow sa dietary quality. And also sa underweight mao ni sila ang mga gamay ra og kinaon or sa others na mukaon lang, for example tulo ka adlaw kausara mukaon. And also one of the reason is walay mga kwarta like mga ingana dili enough ilang pagkaon, so gamay ra mao na magka underweight sila. So stunted children naman is dili proportion and height and weight nila, so nagkaka-stunted growth, poor dietary quality and hunger, and can cause hypertension, diabetes, and even psychological stress due to malnutrition. So that's why daghang ma-develop na diseases, and eventually because wala na maintain sa body or wala na sustain sa body ang mga nutrients na kinahanglan kay kuwang ang mga pagkaon na na-consume sa mga tao. And then lastly, the low economic productivity. Malnourishment can lead to low mental acuity and poor physical stamina, resulting in poor performance at school. So, di ba, if nagigutom na mga tao na irritable, dili sila maka-function og tarong. So, kinahanglan na makaon ta kay dili man jud ta maka-function well or kanang maka-function atong utok, especially if naa ka sa exam at wala kay kaon kay tarong kaon makalimtan jud nimo uban nimo mga gitun-an. So naka ka ng nakabantay mo sa mga teachers na to before the start of exam kay mingon na nga na ba mo like mangimusta kung nikaon ba jud kay we all know ang mga pagkaon is naghatag na to sa og energy to be productive and function well sa atong utok para makabuhat tarong sa atong mga buhatonon. And actually duha man na diba ang walay tarong nagaon ug walay tarong natug uban gyud na sila if kuwang kaana diba magluyat ta, right? So let's jump on the 4 core aspirations. So leaders around the world agreed in 4 core aspirations. So unsa maning mga 4 core aspirations? So first aspiration is the efficiency or efficient. Second is the inclusive, followed by sustainable, lastly nutritious and healthy. So what are the challenges had in achieving these 4 core aspirations? Ang number 1 challenge nato is to achieve this 4 core aspiration is to create a transformation which requires holistic multi-stakeholder approach. So kinahanglan if ma-achieve ning 4 core aspiration dapat ni-require ang magiging holistic approach. Holistic approach means acceptable siya sa community, less ang waste and less din ang maapektuhan or any harmful events that may affect many people. Ikaduha, it drives across the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals na if na-achieve na nato ni the goal if na-achieve na nato ni the global food system is resilient to inevitable shocks and stressors. So unsa man ang mga 4 core aspiration? Number 1 is inclusive. Inclusive means all should be consulted. So tanan kinahanglan ay acceptable siya sa atong society. Kinahanglan ang mga solutions and policies upon this inclusive or aspiration is ipang consult. So dili lang siya kinahanglan okay sa usa ka particular group but okay siya from the other group, meaning accessible ang mga solutions and policies and kinahanglan ni siyang i-apply. Next is the sustainable. Sustainable means it addresses the long and short-term issues while minimizing negative environmental impact. So sustainable sa mga to pagsulti na or pag-determine na ang sustainable. Okay, maghatag og example, just like the plastic bag, instead na magamit ta og plastic bags, we use paper bags or what we call na bulseta, right? Para malas yung pollution or negative impact ani sa atong environment. Next slide is the efficiency or efficient. It minimize loss and waste food chain. So following the example of sustainable, just like the paper bag, it lessens the loss and waste upon these food chains. Like as long as kaya na to maging efficient and sustainable, bahato na to kay para naman sa din sa atong environment. So next is when it comes to food, sad is kinahanglang nutritious and healthy. So mao ni siya ang maghatag og impact sa atong dietary choices and also through educating. So parehas sa atong program sa atong food system sa atong gobyerno, di ba ang gobyerno nato ay nagpagawas og commercial about eating nutritious and healthy food. Kinahanglan naa or makita didto ang basic food choices na naay go, grow and glow foods na naghatag sa ato og sakto og nindot na panglawas. So that's all of my part. May I call Trixie Bacaresas to continue the discussion. Thank you.
Thank you, Miss Ashley. So, by the way, my name is Trixie Bacarisas. I'll be discussing the models for sustainable global food system and the summary of global food security. The first model is business innovation. It encourages businesses to innovate progress and sustainability. The companies can help by creating new ideas and technologies to make food production better. So, business innovation and global food security refers to the development and implementation of new ideas, technologies, processes, or business models that address challenges in ensuring a stable, sustainable, and equitable global food supply. It also involves leveraging creativity, research, and collaboration to tackle food security issues such as hunger, malnutrition, food production efficiency, and supply chain disruption and climate change impacts. Second is smart policies. It highlights the need for well thought out policies to reform existing systems. The government needs to create rules and plans that support a better food system. So, smart policies in global food security are well designed, evidence based strategies and regulation aimed at addressing the complex challenges of ensuring that everyone has access to sufficient, safe, and nutritious food. These policies focus on sustainability, resilience, and equity while leveraging technology, innovation, and collaboration to create long-term solutions. The third is redesign. It advocates integrating social and ecological practices into the system's structure, changing the way do things to focus more on protecting nature and helping communities. So, redesigning global food security refers to rethinking and restructuring systems, processes, and framework used to produce, distribute, and consume food to address modern challenges such as climate change, resource scarcity, population growth, and inequities in access to food. It emphasizes creating more sustainable, efficient, and equitable food system by leveraging innovation, policy reform, and collaboration. Lastly, the leadership. The calls for leadership that is both responsible, that focus on ethical decisions, and responsive, that is capable of adapting to challenges. So, leadership in global food security refers to the ability to inspire, influence, and guide individuals, organizations, and nations towards creating sustainable, equitable, and resilient food system. Effective leadership is essential for addressing complex challenges like hunger, malnutrition, climate change, and geopolitical conflicts that affects the food security globally. So that's all for the models for sustainable global food system. Next is the summary of the global food security. So, global food security is achieved when all individuals have consistent access to sufficient, safe, and nutritious food for a healthy life, as defined by the 1996 World Food Summit. So, global food security is when all individuals have consistent access to enough safe and nutritious food for a healthy life. This concept is based on four pillars. First is the availability. It is having sufficient food supplies. Next is accessibility, ensuring people can physically and economically access the food. Third is utilization, the proper use of food for nutrition. Lastly is the stability. It is consistent access over time. The importance of global food security drives economic growth, reduces poverty, fosters trade opportunities, ensures stability, and improves health outcomes. And the key factors of global food security is the challenges such as climate change, land degradation, population growth, water crisis, competition with biofuels, and shifting dietary preferences impact food security. Next is the consequences of insecurity, and aspirations. First is the consequences of food insecurity. So it can lead to social unrest, health issues like malnutrition and chronic diseases, and it can also reduces economic productivity due to poor physical and cognitive performance. So these are the core aspirations for food security. First is inclusive. It is involving marginalized groups such as the smallholders, farmers, and women. Next is sustainable. It addresses environmental challenges while promoting food security. Third is efficient. Efficient is like reducing food loss and waste globally. Lastly is the nutritious and healthy. It promotes diverse and balanced diets. So the sustainable models. So sustainable models is the progress and food security that requires business innovation, smart policies, and redesigning social and ecological practices, and has strong responsible leadership. That's all for our topic. Thank you and God bless.